is Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting. Alrighty, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a huge monster guest on the show this morning. Monster guest, Miss Phoebe Davis. Hey! Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so excited to talk to you after looking at all your stuff. Pretty incredible. I don't know what you know about our studio, but literally one of my morning affirmations is about mind, body, spirit. Mm-hmm. And yours is?
Flexing the mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul. Very similar.
Yes.
So tell us, how did you, or when, how long ago did you go through this like big transformation in your life?
Okay, so I would say the really big transformation happened in 2019 because that's when I decided to compete in bodybuilding and in fitness competitions. So
what led up to that?
Okay, so growing up, I was always heavier. I was always like the fat friend of the group, and everybody relied on me for cracking jokes, which I am appreciative now because I use my humor all the time. I mean, I'm hilarious, but I was always bullied for being chubby, and that obviously like takes its toll on a young girl.
So were you bullied? You were bullied by other girls?
Yes.
What type of things do they say?
Okay, so my name is Phoebe, so my name's already unique. People used to call me like Fatty Phoebes
because of the alliteration.
Yeah.
Brilliant,
real
kids.
Unique,
really,
guys.
really good.
Real original. So
I'm a middle child,
okay,
and a boy in between two girls. So I actually attribute my listening skills, which I'm like, my life is about listening.
Yeah.
I attribute that to being in a household full of women.
Okay.
My dad was always working. He's a doctor. He traveled a lot. And so I'm home with my mom and two sisters. I got one on either side. I would listen to them talking to boys and crying or laughing. And I'm like, okay, don't do that. Do that.
Yeah.
You know?
You're giving all the advice to your guy friends.
I'm just paying attention is all I'm doing.
Yeah.
And but what's interesting is I'm very, very, very sensitive to this subject because obesity runs. I mean, not severely, but being overweight runs in my family. Mm-hmm. And I watched both my sisters go through eating disorders, different kinds. And it was really painful as the middle child boy who was always trying to kind of be there, help out. I had a particular metabolism, but I was also like a sports kid. So I was always outside running, you know, and so like I would feel guilty, you know, because I'm like, we're the same genetics. And maybe one of my sisters would be overweight. One of my other sisters would be like really, really focused on one part of her body.
Yeah. Body dysmorphia.
What is that called?
Yeah, it's called body dysmorphia.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, we can talk about this a little bit later, but after I competed, I went through severe body dysmorphia. Because I mean, it's just basically when you look at yourself in the mirror and you can only pinpoint what's wrong, and you could be like in amazing shape, but your mind is so messed up and focused on the negatives that you can't see the positives in what you're looking at.
So before we that's crazy and scary almost too,
it's
right?
Terrifying.
Especially for the people you love
to
to even understand that they might be there. So before we move forward with your story, so we're young and you're being called Fatty Phoebes, and it's horrifying and hard. What do you recommend? Let me start here. What do you recommend to the person? Like let's say me in that circumstance when I'm the young boy who wants to encourage his sister, wants to love her, wants to be there for her when she's going through something like that, because it almost feels like a lose-lose situation where like you can't say the right thing. You know, maybe it's just you shut up and listen. Like I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both because obviously coming as, you know, a sibling and a male sibling, you can't really relate to that situation. So like listening, of course, is probably going to be your best tool. also like for me, I didn't really talk about it with my family that much. So like maybe my close friends knew, but I wasn't super open with it. So I mean, I have male siblings, so but they're also a lot older than me. So they I don't know. It was just for me it was a little bit different, but I would say if I could go back, I would just want them to like stand up for me. Like if they were in the same like close to the same age, so they were going to school with me at that time, maybe just wanting them to be around me a little bit more.
Well, good, because I did that.
Okay, good. Yeah. So like if you're in that situation now and you have siblings that you go to school with, a brother or a sister, tell them what's going on, say that you're being bullied and, talk about it, because guaranteed you're not the only person being bullied at that school. Bullying happens everywhere and it's awful. But say you need help. If you need help, if you need protection, like ask for that.
I punched a senior when I was a freshman.
Is that your one claim to fame?
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's the one punch that I threw. No, this guy was dating my sister and he was being totally disrespectful, and I literally just got up in the middle because I was so mad, and she was mad at me for a second, but then later she's like, "Thank you."
Yeah. It's in the moment you're like, "What's happening?" But then after you're like, "Wow, that was so cool."
Like, wow, I just punched
remember
somebody.
when you punched that one?
I know, and now I'll never that's not something I'll do, but I'm capable of it. I always want people to know, like, I've got a bat.
Yeah.
But I won't. I'm not like, I'm a nice guy too. All right, so we're in the we're in your youth. You're being bullied. Mm-hmm. Take me from there.
Okay, so going into high school, I did not play sports. I was very theatrical. I did Christian youth theater growing up. Did lots of singing. I was in choir, took voice lessons. So like that was my extracurricular activity. And like the bullying never stopped. I was called a choir queer. I'm straight, so that makes no sense at all. But they were just like looking for ways to bring me down.
Yeah. Did you have a tight group of girlfriends back then?
I did, but high school dynamics of girl friendships is so whack. I can't even imagine what it's like to be in high school right now. I'm 27 and like, yikes. It's scary to think of being in high school these days. Yeah, we were close, but there, within a group of girl friendships, there's weird dynamics and someone's the leader and other people are being left out. And I was always the one that was being left out or not invited to things. So I still struggled with that in high school, still struggled with bullying. And then, of course, in high school, like all my girlfriends started dating. So they would have boyfriends and like, guys never paid any attention to me. And of course, as a teenage girl, you start just picking yourself apart. So definitely still struggled with that in high school. Then in college, I was still overweight. I partied a lot. And of course that never really did me any good. And then I think about sophomore year in college, I was like, you know what? I can take control of my life and my body. And, I started working out. So that's kind of where I discovered health and fitness, was in college.
Was there a catalyst, like a rock bottom point or something where do you remember the day when you made a decision? Like, was it one day?
So it was actually a comment that my college boyfriend at the time, said to me. This is my first boyfriend ever. He was an athlete. I'd never really gotten attention from guys. And he was like one of my best friends. And he had told me that he fell in love with me, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, finally. And he made a comment to me that was like, if you just lost some weight, like you would be like so hot. You'd be so beautiful. And so like kind of in the back of my mind, I was like, one, ouch, that hurts. And two, I was like, what, screw you. I'm going to do this. Yeah. But for me, and then one day you're just going to look and be like, damn, you got hot. So like he almost kind of, encourage it, like sure. Sort of lit the fire a little bit. But
and he was he saying it from a nice place?
Yeah. And
that's what's interesting, right?
Yeah, he was. But I mean, is it nice to ever tell somebody
like
if you just lost a little, like if only you did this to yourself, you would
right.
be this much better,
Which again brings us to that crux where you when we're talking about personal development. Like I said, I'm so sensitive to this subject because of my sisters. Like even when you say the word fat, like I go like this. Like I'm like, I don't like that word.
I know, I don't even like saying that.
I really don't like it. but there is this fine line when you've made a transformation personally and you know how it feels and you know like, hey, person I love in the world so much, I know you can feel better. Like I know and it's not about looks, but there's a way that like I know you'll have more energy, you'll have more vitality, you know,
Yes.
you'll attack life, and you want to encourage it, but at the same time you have to be so careful because
you have to be so sensitive. I mean, I'll tell a lot of my friends, like, I'll give them, you know, tips on tracking macros and, you know, different workout tips. I'm not a health coach, so I'm not the most qualified, but based on my own experience, I know a thing or two. So,
But also, what's a macro?
a macro? Oh, okay. Well, macros.
Me either. I'm not
Right?
even gonna say or pretend. Yeah.
But there might be some audience members out there that because I'm like I've heard of calories, but what's a
Probably.
macro?
So there are 3 major macronutrients. It's proteins, fats, and carbs.
Okay.
So you, instead of tracking calories, you're tracking the amount of grams
each?
that you're taking in
And
of
it's
proteins.
protein what?
Proteins, fats, and carbs.
Where's sugar on there?
Sugar's a carb.
Oh, okay. Does it count for more carbs, like
Sugar's
extra
a carb.
carbs? Like, how do you track the sugars if it says sugar on there?
Well, it's a lot.
It's complicated.
No. Well, it sounds complicated, but it's a lot easier than.
Is it like a calculation of some kind
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
take
yeah.
the sugar and you're like, it equals that many carbs? Because let's say
there's
the
an
back
app.
of a zone bar, right? And it says X amount of
Sugars.
carbs, X amount of
Yeah.
carbs, and then X amount of sugars.
Right.
How do you figure out how many carbs there are?
Because it says carbs.
Oh, so it's just the carbs. You don't even count the sugars?
I mean, you want to stay within like a certain amount of sugars each day.
Okay,
You don't want to
okay.
go crazy on sugar. But
Because I love sugar, but I'm trying to cut back on it. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm
That's good. I'm proud
literally
of you.
I'm literally learning today. I want to learn. I figure everybody else.
Dude,
wants to
he's
learn
been
too.
so excited for this episode. He was like, I've got so many health questions
I do.
to ask
I do. I'm very excited about the macros. Okay, so
about the macros.
yeah.
moving forward. Okay,
Okay.
here we go. We're back in the story. We're coming into college. The boyfriend says the thing.
Yes.
You say, you know what? I'm going to do this, but for me, then what?
Right. So that propelled my launch into health and fitness. Still didn't know. This was like the very early days of fitness being popular on Instagram. Instagram was still new in this time. This was like 2011, 2012.
So when you
2013.
first went for it, did you see like a massive transformation quickly? Like, were you obsessed right away?
I noticed that I lost a lot of my baby fat, especially in my face. I mean, I wasn't really growing muscle and changing body composition at this time. I just was like kind of just shedding all my baby fat from my whole life. And that took about like 3 months. And then I started getting a lot of attention from other people. I started looking, like comparing before and after photos, which I always recommend taking before and after pictures. Take progress pictures throughout your transformation because that's
Yeah.
the number one thing where you can rely on proof of your transformation.
Sure.
Because the scale
Lies. Yeah.
It's a tool, but don't rely on it.
Sure. So you've transformed.
Yeah.
That's where we are. So
Yeah.
you made the first decision. Now 3 months later, a huge transformation already, right? Or you're seeing the baby fat come
I'm
off.
seeing the baby fat come
Are you
off.
still with the same boyfriend at this point?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
so we dated almost 5 years.
Wow, okay.
He was my boyfriend all through college and a little bit after college. And by the end of that relationship, I had also, so I'm from Spokane, Washington. So I was living in Washington through college. After I graduated, I actually moved down to Arizona. So we did like long distance for a year. Regardless, eventually I ended up moving back to Washington. And now obviously I'm back in Scottsdale. But we had grown so different because he was a huge stoner. And like back in college when we first met, I was all about that life. So like we definitely clicked and we were, best friends and blah, blah, blah. But I had grown so much. Like I don't do that anymore. Especially at this time, I was like, I want to be focused so much on my health and actually making that the priority. And I was super driven. Obviously I moved away. Like I wanted to start a real career for myself. And so I grew in a very different direction. So I ended that relationship because I was like, we're not the same people anymore. So
So then, was that hard? Did you go through any kind of a sadness after that, or were you in a good place?
I was in a good place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now we're here. We've broken up with the stoner boyfriend at this point in
Yeah.
time. Okay, we're progressing forward. So I'm very curious about, because you said you grew up in a Christian household.
Yes.
But then there was a time when you really allowed Jesus into your life. Can we talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. So, my family is Christian. I grew up in a Christian home. I did Christian youth theater. I went to a private Christian university in Spokane. But I feel like my personal relationship with God was never really a priority in my life. It was just kind of like always around me, but I hated going to youth group. Didn't really enjoy like Sunday school or church or any of that stuff. So I didn't really accept Christ into my life as an adult until I would say very end of college. And then post-graduation. That was actually one of the main reasons why I ended my relationship with my college boyfriend.
Because you couldn't get on the same page.
Because he was not about Jesus at all, and would always like fight, trying to prove me wrong. And I was just like, well, no.
Yeah, that's one of the hard things. So I'm interested in your definition of this, because I struggled with this my whole life. Mm-hmm. The idea of what does that mean when they say personal relationship with Jesus? Like I hated that when people would say that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand it really.
Yeah.
I grew up Catholic was my background.
Okay.
And so then when I met my wife, she was very, very Christian. As a matter of fact, I'll just say on the show here, I don't think she'll mind. She was a virgin when I met her, and I had never even experienced a thing like that before in my life. Like I was a major partier, didn't even know that girls like this existed in the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And then she's a beautiful girl, and I had no idea like this was out there. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this is what I've been looking for this whole time, and I didn't know it. And it wasn't until I opened the Bible and told God, okay, I'm done with girls, he drops this angel down upon me, in our theater that we used to own. And so anyway, long story short, that we have a little meet cute there. But I'm very curious in the idea of the personal relationship, because I have a specific day. Like for me, it was an absolute light switch. So I'm curious, like what does it mean? What's the difference now for you? Like how would you define personal relationship?
That's a great question. I think for me, especially as an adult, because I grew up in a Christian home and was always, at that time, dragged to church and like forced to go to Sunday school and youth group and all that stuff. I always knew about Jesus and like what it meant to be a Christian and blah, blah, blah. But I think as an adult, choosing to spend quiet time with Jesus, to have that it's literally a personal relationship. Like,
but what is that? Like, how do you define it?
Okay. So for me, what that looks like is reading a daily devotional, spending time in the Bible. I do go to church. Worship is huge. Like I used to be scared to go to church because I would get so emotional during worship. And now it's the best part of the week is going to church and I literally bawl my eyes during worship. But I just love it so much. Like it's hard to put into words the feeling that I get when I'm worshiping, because it's like, I was literally listening to worship songs on my way here, and I was like, don't cry, don't cry. You're about to be interviewed. Don't cry, don't cry. I don't know. I just feel like it's a two-way. It's non-believers, I feel like, might find it difficult to understand that it's a two-way relationship, because they're like, it's just you talking to the universe or journaling or whatever. But I don't know. I'm bad at explaining this.
No, it's okay. It's hard to explain. That's the whole point. Is I feel like you get into the space and then everyone's like I feel like I want that, but what is it? And it's so hard to put our fingers on. So for me, it was the same thing. It was there was a day, and this is well past me being married and everything else. And it was February 2nd, 2018, the day I woke up. That was it. And it was an experience that through somebody else's grief of their son who passed away, their response to that was so touching. It changed everything inside me. And I was like, my greatest fear, this person is living out in a way that's like, I can't believe it. And I just said to myself, whatever Wheaties they're eating, I want to eat those.
Yeah.
And the very next day I started waking up at 4 a.m. Haven't missed since. I've been reading the Bible every single day and connecting into spirit and connecting and writing and speaking. And it's becoming like this habit. But it's very God centered. And so I was now the way I see a personal relationship with Jesus is he lives inside you. So this is for the kids out there and adults.
Yeah.
But there's the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? So as Catholics are like Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right?
Yes.
And what does that mean? Okay, so there's a God up in heaven, and I think there's like the Jesus sort of next to you that sort of like walks alongside you,
Yes.
you know, the Son part, and then there's the Spirit that lives inside you. And what's interesting is they're all one. So it's like 3 in 1. Okay, that's weird, but okay, if I can wrap my mind around that, then the Spirit is like has always been there. Jesus has always been inside of you. He always has been, always will be. So having a personal relationship is just learning to listen to what's already there. Because God tells you. I mean, like I joke about sugar all the time, but like God tells me what I like if I should eat the pie. You know, like I know, like it's the Spirit's inside me. It tells me, and honestly, as kids, sometimes we listen and sometimes we don't. You know,
Well, as adults too.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm calling myself a kid for
Yeah.
life
We're
because
children.
right? Because God's the Father. And so you're like, okay, God tells me what to do. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. And when I don't, you know, you get a little slap on the hand or worse, you know, and it's heart disease or whatever else
Right.
when you don't listen. But you knew, like a lot of times you're told what to do or what to say, and we choose to like bottle that up. And I think having a personal relationship, the closer you become to Jesus, the more free you become as a human being.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that definition?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. And I'm kind of, well, I'm not upset with myself, but when you said this, it reminded me of kind of something else that like reignited my faith was when my grandfather passed away, and he was just like the most holiest, like the holiest man that I ever knew, and just such an amazing person and so godlike. And I just, when he passed away, that was the first like real loss I'd ever experienced in my life. That was just, well, it was devastating for our entire family, but I had such a very close personal relationship with him. And I realized like after that happened, that's actually what made me make the choice to break up with that boyfriend. Cause I was like, my like granddad would not be proud of this relationship. Like this is where I draw the line. And I kind of will fall back on like, what would granddad think of this? And I just knew that I knew granddad was in heaven. And I was like, I need to go where granddad is going.
There you go. Same idea. I want to eat what the Wheaties
Yes.
he's eating, right?
Yeah.
I want to go hang with that guy, so I got to do what he's doing,
Yes.
sort of, so to speak.
And just the whole idea, I remember specifically at his funeral, like they were playing old hymns and those were his favorite. And like hymns are just so beautiful. And all of the lyrics that talk about how, you know, we've already overcome death and we don't need to be scared. I was just like, oh my gosh. So
was it after that you started dedicating a daily practice to reading the Bible?
I would say it still took a while.
Yeah.
To really make it at the forefront of, you know, just a priority in my life. But it definitely was a wake up call. I'm like, I want to be living a better life.
Sure.
Yeah. With more meaning and more purpose. And I want to make my family proud of me, and I want to inspire other people. And I mean that my faith is a huge reason why I chose to create an Instagram account and a blog and just share my journey. Because I was like, I've been through some stuff. I know for a fact other people are going through very similar things that I am, and I've always been very honest and open and authentic with my journey and my struggles, and I feel like it's helped a lot of people. So
what's interesting? Oh, so I have a couple questions now. We're gonna kind of like vacillate around a little bit.
Okay. We're gonna bop around.
So you have a on your profile a bunch of pictures of you in bikinis and different things because you're a fitness model.
Yes.
Tell me about the tattoos.
The tattoos.
Yeah,
Okay.
like are there significant, like major significance? Because you got a big one on the shoulder.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love the ocean. My big tattoos are all related to the ocean in one way or another. So I have a big jellyfish on my left shoulder, and that is inspired. Well, all of my ocean tattoos are inspired by the Oregon coast because my family has a beach house there. So growing up, we would spend summers at the Oregon coast and we'd, wake up early, walk the beaches, collect sand dollars. So I have a sand dollar on my arm right here. And I'd see washed up jellies and thought they were so cool. And so in college, I saw this beautiful watercolor painting of a jellyfish. I was like, yeah, I want that on my body. So I did. And then I have an orca whale on this arm. And that's actually Keiko from the movie Free Willy, because when I was 5, I saw Keiko, the real whale, at the Oregon Coast Aquarium. And it was game over.
I love Free Willy. Have you
Favorite
seen Free
animal
Willy,
ever.
Joey?
No.
You've never seen Free Willy? Oh, dude.
Joey.
You
Listen,
should really just stop your
The main
life.
character's name is
However-
Joey.
However, wait, oh dang, that's crazy. No, but I did realize it was a jellyfish first.
Yeah, you did.
By the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got so stoked. I was like, no, it's a jellyfish, guys. It's so cool. Because we were doing the promo photos and they were like, what is that? And I was like, I think it's a jellyfish. Like
Yeah.
it looks like a jellyfish.
Joey was right.
Joey was right. Joey.
Some people think
Joey's
it's like a
facts.
mushroom. I'm like, it's not a mushroom.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, that looks like a mushroom. That's what I
I
said.
couldn't remember what you thought it was, so I wasn't going to like throw out lies,
No, I thought it was a
But-
mushroom. Turns out a lot of people think the same thing.
well,
But
did you have your
Joey's right.
glasses on
Joey's
or
no,
not?
I did not.
Okay,
I did not have
well.
my glasses on.
She,
All right.
she says, well.
Let me. I'm gonna put them on here. All right.
Should I put mine on too?
Yeah, jellyfish. Okay.
Okay.
So let me ask you a very challenging question, and then I'm gonna try to help you answer it if you can't.
Okay.
Ooh, give her the drum roll.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna pin this one. Okay,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
gonna
let's
be
get a little
this could
sound
be
effect.
tough here. Okay. All right, well,
What was that?
That was the ring sound. All right, so this isn't really a drum roll type question. This is more serious.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, because
fair.
this is a really challenge. Okay, so,
Okay.
you describe yourself as a daughter of Christ.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the photos you have up,
Yeah.
some Christians could be like, "Whoa, those are super scandalous."
Yes.
Because it's you in a bikini.
Right.
Right. And so, so I have this very firm belief in what we do, where for the longest time since we started, I've been trying to build up an army for Christ of actors, really good actors who could go out into the entertainment industry, which is totally plagued with negativity,
Right.
and infect them with goodness and with godness, and so but the thing is, I have to train our actors with heavy weights. I can't use fluffy stuff. So one of my issues with like some of the Christian films out there is they don't deal with the real issues. Like they sort of sing to the choir type thing,
Yeah.
and they don't go deep sometimes. And so I've been criticized, but I can back it up. But by some of the work that we put up, for instance, in like a master's scene study class, will be from Pulitzer Prize winning plays, some really, really great writing, but it deals with subject matter that where the characters curse and the characters go through like real stuff, like they're like murder and rape and like really difficult subject matters. But I believe we have to work through that stuff. We have to go into the dark to bring the light, right? And so here you are. You may be potentially among Christians a controversial profile, and yet I would love to hear your take on it, and I can help
Yeah.
defend you if you can't. But I think this is a really interesting
No,
topic.
it's funny. I actually prayed that you would ask this question.
Really?
I did, yeah, because this is actually something that's been on my heart more recently because I've been doing a little bit more. I don't know if I want to use the word risque, but like a little bit more revealing photo shoots and I actually was writing out a caption for one of my posts on Instagram like a couple days ago. Like, is it possible to post to be a Christian and still post sexy photos? That was like the headline.
Interesting.
And I started writing into it and then I ended up getting distracted and didn't finish it. But this has been on my mind. Yes, I do think it's possible to be a Christian and still post sexy photos. For me, I struggled my entire life with feeling beautiful and loving the body that God gave me. And I think I have gone through some extremely dark days, especially after competing. Like I was telling you, I had really bad body dysmorphia. I basically developed a binge eating disorder. I just basically the past year has just been a huge year of growth for me. But I also during that time was able to accomplish things I never thought that I would accomplish. I got signed with Ford RBA and became a model and got to go on more auditions for acting, which I haven't acted since high school. And like, that was such a huge passion of mine, and losing weight and becoming this, source of inspiration and motivation for other people. I was like, you know what? I am allowed to feel beautiful. I'm allowed to create art in a new way that I haven't done before and use my body for that. And I still have morals. I still have things like I'll have photographers like, do you want to do boudoir or like implied stuff? And I've spent so much time looking at other models, not necessarily Christian models, but just models in the industry and seeing like, okay, well, what kind of stuff are they posting and putting out there? Just kind of, because this is a new world for me. Like, my Instagram content has kind of changed a lot in the past like month, honestly. Because before it was, well, I would say like since COVID, because obviously we didn't have gyms, and the majority of my content was like gym selfies and workouts and blah, blah, blah. So I kind of had to find new ways to, I don't know, still feel beautiful and use my body to create art that wasn't just like a typical gym selfie. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it does. No, 100%. And
Okay.
here's the deal. You've got what I don't remember what it was, 12,000 followers or something.
17.7.
17.7. Sorry.
Oh, Matt, you always undershoot it with these big guests.
You know what?
I don't want to overshoot and have you have to be
Yeah.
like correct me down, like that wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're you have a huge following and this has come through your transformation and whatnot. But
Yeah.
here's what I think. Okay, you've got a profile that can draw people in, and if you want to say sexy or just beautiful or using the female body in such a way that glorifies Christ, I think that's cool. But what's interesting to me is if you can continue to be really specific about what you think someone's journey might be coming through your profile. Because for me, like what I'm interested in, when Brian said you're going to be on the show, and I started looking, and I'm like, okay, there's a mushroom, and okay, we're gonna, and I found the transformation photo, and I was like, ooh, like I'm really curious about this. And then I saw the mind, body, soul, and I'm like, really, like I'll love this. This is amazing. We're gonna have a lot to talk about. I'm sure there's a
Yes.
really deep person here that I want to talk to. So what you can be doing really is drawing people in, and they're going to keep hitting these speed bumps along the way.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, Christ, up, and they're going to have to bump into their own self a little bit and realize that, hey, what I'm doing is inspiring others, and I've got a real story here. And I think I agree with you. I think it's okay to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And be online and still, if your why is correct because you want to inspire others and help them with their journeys, I mean, of course.
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, like I've created, flexing Phoebes. Like it's a business now. Like
Right.
I'm an ambassador for a bunch of different companies, and I do make money off of this. So
It's your job.
it's my job. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that I got to create this, and that it's like through this process, I get to reach thousands of people and help inspire, people every day. But yeah, it is a business, and you do have to market yourself. But like you said, like I always like I try to. I've took the past couple days off, but I try to post my daily devotional every single morning. I put prayer requests in my stories all the time, and I will personally respond to every single one who submits a prayer request and my questions on my stories. And then I tell them exactly how I'm praying for them.
Wow, that's huge.
And I love that, because a lot of like even people who aren't Christians, they still want to be prayed for.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met so many non-believers who are like, "Will you pray for me for this?" Because they know I am. They might not necessarily know what it means to be prayed for, but like they want support in some way, and I'm more than willing to give that.
I've got a prayer request Joey, you down? Will you pray for Brian later on your story?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for
Please.
sure.
So Brian, you sort of met digitally, and he helped book you on the show here. He has an autoimmune disease. He's had his fingers and toes were all amputated due to a life-threatening thing he went through. He was 2 weeks in a coma, and then he went through years. I'm talking years of dialysis, 3 days a week, wearing down his body, coming back, trying to fight, trying to give, trying to love. He's got a real heart for teenagers. He's now a public speaker. He's a teacher here. And so right now he's in the hospital recovering from a virus that only people with transplants can get. And he got it, which is tough, you know. The good news, though, is we thought that it might be the new kidney being rejected, and it looks like it's not that. So that's the good news.
Okay, that is good
You know,
news.
and we need him back. You know, his energy is amazing. He's super funny and silly, and
I know, I'm sad that he's not here. I would have loved.
you
I
would've
will
loved
meet.
him.
I will meet him.
You will, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
he's probably really sad. he was looking forward to this episode so much.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, like, I was listening from the sideline, and I'm like, he would have talked about that. He would have talked about that. Like, when you got into worship, like, that's his thing, that's his jam, and he would literally just, like, you could probably do a 30-minute show with him on just that one
Yeah,
topic.
you two'd probably be singing already.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. A little harmony.
So Brian Sweeney, that's a prayer request from me.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
And I'm going to give another prayer request to the entire listening audience here. I think we should all pray for whoever gets elected. We have to pray for our leaders. We have to
Today is
respect and pray
that
for
day.
our leaders. It's
Yeah.
that day. It is. And I let's take a deep breath. We're going to be all right. Someone's going to get elected. And
Yeah.
we need to move forward. And as a
Yes.
country, hopefully we can get behind whoever it is, pray for them, and trust God. Because I mean, we had a pastor that spoke on this subject, and was like, he's like, God's got it. Like, it feels big, but like, we're cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know who's gonna win, but whoever does, let's pray for that person.
Yes.
Agreed.
Agreed.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Okay. So
we got a comment over here.
all right. What's the
Just,
comment? Is it Brian?
No, it's I wish. No, it's Astrid. She said, she's got me all in my feels. I love her story and journey through life.
Yay, Astrid.
Astrid is she's probably the #1 fan of the show, and she's a student here, and just like all around great.
Her and her husband
thanks,
like
girl.
wake up to the show every day, and she showed us a video of her waking her husband up to the show, and he was like mad, and then he heard the intro, and he's like, hilarious.
She did have a guest intro at one point. We recorded it when she came in, and we played it at the beginning of one of the shows, and it's one of my favorite episodes. So,
Aw.
yeah.
All right, so let's show the transformation photo. Can we do that?
Absolutely,
Yep,
yeah.
right
Really
away.
cool.
Boom.
Right away.
Right away, we can do that.
Yeah. I had it prepped. So here we go.
Love that last thumbnail. That's great.
Right.
Yeah, driving people right to the Deering acting studio.
Boom. So it is Flex and Phoebes 17.7,
Yeah. Get that 12 nonsense out of here.
and then
Hey, we got 3.
right there. That's the transformation.
Look at that, so cool. So the girl on the left was pre the comment,
Yes.
or right around that time.
Yeah, that was the summer going into the comment.
And the girl on the right, how long ago was that? Like right now?
That was, I believe that photo was taken in May.
Interesting. And it's funny because look at your smile, look at your eyes, you know, look at your nose. I'm a guy who grew up with this stuff. So like I see you in both.
Do you?
You know, I see you and love you in both was
It's-
what's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because your spirit is your spirit, you know?
Right.
And so the outside is your packaging, you know? But the outward physical is a representation of what's going on inside. So I love and see both, and I don't love one more than the other, and I don't like one more than the other. But I see that one is still broken, and the other one is like really finding herself, you know. And there's a difference there, and there's a healthiness too. Like it's not, you know, you mentioned sexy photos, and like yeah, that's true, but this is also your job. Like if somebody's walking down the beach in their bikini, no one says anything. But if you post a photo, all of a sudden it's a problem. Like I don't necessarily agree with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like the standards have to be kind of equal across the board. And I mean, I could go on the subject for forever because I'm super passionate about,
Yeah.
about this. But yeah, no, that's really, really cool.
Thank you.
So did you get a huge response off that? Well, you've been doing a lot of these, right?
Yeah. Yeah, every time I try to post a transformation photo at least once a month, just because they get buried on my feed.
Right.
And I will get new followers who might not scroll down deep enough to see the transformation photos. And it's funny because every single time I post one, I'll have people who have been following me for a while or who've known me for a couple months who will message me and be like, I had no idea.
You got a little Gwyneth Paltrow going on.
Do I?
Have you ever been told that?
No.
You got a little Gwyneth Paltrow.
I
That's
could see
interesting.
Got a little
it.
Gwen, guys.
I could see
Yeah.
it.
Got a little Gwen.
Yeah.
Got a little Gwen.
and, and your story is legit like Shallow Hal, right? Too. You
Yeah.
should do something one time where you got like, again, this is what I'm talking about with you, like messing with viewers and drawing them to the right place.
Yeah.
Like draw guys in and be like, hey, this is the girl, just so you know, same girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that is why I post those transformations.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, I've changed my body. I do post, sexier photos now than I ever thought I would have in my entire life because I was never confident enough and never thought I would be able to do something like that. But yeah, it's like almost like a humbling thing to put out there. Like, get out of my DMs, you sickos. This is what
Yeah.
I used to be. Like, I'm still the same person deep down inside.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. We can't.
Yeah, we won't get into
I
that.
don't even want to talk about the sicko. So yeah, go ahead.
We have another comment here. That,
All right.
it's a
Is it
good one
Brian
as
this
well.
time?
No. He's
He's not awake, is he?
I'll
He must
say
be
if
sleeping.
it's Brian.
All right.
I'll
He's
say
allowed
if
to
it's
be
Brian.
sleeping. We'll allow it.
Come on, Brian.
She
wake
she
up.
went to his defense already, and they haven't even met yet.
I know.
All right.
Everyone defends Brian.
So Clark says he has a question for you, Phoebe. He says, how do you fit reading the Bible into your busy life, and how has fitness changed your life?
Okay.
And those are both like obviously deep. but-
Yeah.
Good questions, Clark.
Oh, Clark. Good old Clark.
He's Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read my daily devotional every morning, and that's got scripture in it. So that's how I fit it in every day. There was one sermon that I listened to where he talked about giving God your first fruits. And so to me, that's time, because time is financially, I'm not able to give back in the way I would like to right now, but I do have time, and that's my most precious resource right now. So time is my first fruits that I give to God. So that's one way. I also will listen to worship music on my way, just driving around. That's another way that I make time for God. And I also journal all the time. I have a prayer journal, and I try to write in it every single night. If I don't write it at night, I'll write in the morning. So that's how I make that a priority in my life.
Boom. Love it.
And then the other part, Joey, what was the other part of the question?
The other part was just how has fitness changed your life?
That's a loaded question. That's a heavy question.
Come on, Clark.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, he dropped them like back to back
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I was like, dang.
Fitness has changed my life in a lot of ways because it's obviously given me a new sense of newfound confidence. It's also given me a new purpose in showing other people that you can take control of things that you never thought you would be able to have control over, and tap into potential that you might not have even saw in yourself. It's grown my faith with God. It has opened me up to an incredible community, and a lot of my really amazing friends, my best friends, I've met either at the gym or through Instagram, and there are other people in the fitness industry. So it's completely changed my life.
I have a question for you. Have you ever drinking coffee in your life?
Yeah. I don't.
Did you drink coffee for a while?
No.
You never did. Okay.
I've tried coffee here and there.
Okay.
But the caffeine from coffee hurts my tummy.
Got it. Well,
Yeah.
because here's what's interesting. So I offered Phoebe an
Oh my
espresso
gosh.
this morning.
Yes.
Okay. And here's what's interesting. And this is what I want people to take from this, because it's actually something that I believe in so firmly, is this idea of self-identity. And so you can actually change your life by changing how you see yourself, and you make these permanent decisions. So for instance, I used to be a partier. I used to drink quite a bit. I am not a drinker. I don't drink. That's different than me saying I quit drinking or I stopped drinking for a while. totally different things, right? I identify now with being a non-drinker of alcohol. I've got my own whys behind that, but that's who I am now. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
I wake up at 4 a.m. That's who I am. I read the Bible every day. That's who I am. When I asked you, would you like an espresso? You said, I'm not a coffee drinker. It's a very firm identity there.
Yeah.
Right? Then I said, would you like a bubble water? And you said, I have this. Like you knew exactly what you were going to drink.
Yeah.
Like you've taken control of your, like what goes into your body.
Yes.
Right? And if you think about like, this is what I do, you tell yourself this thing, don't you think that's like a big part of making a life transformation is making this decision
Yes.
that's absolute?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, zinger.
Yes. I think if you want something bad enough, manifestations and speaking them into existence is a real thing. So if you struggle with drinking or smoking or whatever, and you just start saying, I don't do this anymore. I don't do this anymore. Or if you want to be doing something like I want to find the love of my life or whatever. There's so many different kinds of affirmations out there and like script manifestations that you can do to literally attract those things into your life or trick yourself into not doing things anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Like if you struggle with waking up early in the morning, obviously the first time you do it, it's not going to be a habit. It's going to be hard. But the more you do it and the more you say, I'm a morning person.
Right.
The more you tell yourself that and you speak that, you're literally tricking your brain
Totally.
to becoming a morning person.
And I always say to other people and to yourself, my trick is you got to give yourself a cookie. So, or give somebody else a cookie. So like if you treat me a certain way, or let's just say you're hard on me, you critique me in a certain way and you're like, hey, you know what, dude, probably shouldn't do that thing. If I want critique in my life, if I'm asking for it, if I want refinement, I got to give you a cookie when you critique me. Most people condemn people when they give them tough love, when they hold a mirror to their face. But if I want tough love, if I'm like, oh, I seek it, I desire it, then I'll give you a cookie. So what's a cookie? It's just like a compliment back. It's an affirmation. I give you love back to let you know this is something I want more of in my life. So when I wake up early, it's like, now I've got this ritual, I've got this routine, and again, yes, you're right, the affirmations, the telling yourself a certain thing, but also the positivity that you bring into it, and you give yourself some sort of love there, and then you start associating goodness versus negativity to that thing.
Yes.
It's like my cold showers. I do cold showers now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. And
Do you
it's
do
like,
cryo? Have you ever done cryotherapy?
I haven't, but I would love to.
Have you done like a cold bath?
No, but I would love to.
Okay.
I would love, like I've gone in like really cold water before, and like I'm interested in like the Wim Hof thing. I think that's like really cool.
Yeah.
I just haven't done it. Have you?
Yes. I used to do cryo all the time. And then I've done cold baths. They're brutal.
What is it? Is it amazing though afterward? Or is it
Yeah. I
just
mean,
brutal?
once you thaw out, you literally have to thaw out.
How long are you in the cold bath for?
I did 90 seconds.
Okay. And it's like ice, right?
Full ice water.
And some people can do like 30 minutes, right?
The psychos can.
Right.
The people, I mean,
Is
psychos.
is
a little
cryo
harsh,
like the
but-
chamber where they like blast you?
Yeah.
With like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that better or worse?
Both are brutal in their own way.
Okay.
I think cryo gets colder than an ice bath. It does. It gets a lot colder.
Interesting.
How long are you in the cryo chamber for?
I think that's also 90 seconds.
Okay. Is there like a button that you're like, I'm done? Then you can like tap out like in the
So-
military?
They
Tap
have they have like a tech
Okay.
who goes in there with you, and at least when I was going, a tech would come in there and like turn it on for me and talk to me during it to try
Yeah.
and distract me, and I would like march in place, and they give you Crocs to wear.
Okay.
'Cause they, like,
Oh my
'cause they
gosh.
freeze, but they don't like I don't know, explode. I don't know what
Sure.
happens under crazy cold temperatures, but yeah.
And then what happens to your body afterward? How do you feel? Like what's the
It's
whole
so-
point of it?
It's so good for recovery. So like once you come out of the freezing temperatures, like after a couple of minutes, your blood flow is crazy.
Your joints feel better.
Your
all
joints
that.
feel better. Yeah, your blood just rushes from head to toe, because you basically you go into hypothermia for a certain amount of time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like controlled torture.
Yeah.
All right, so we should be getting toward our wrapping up here. If anybody has any more questions, throw those out there for us.
Well, there is one already. I was just.
Is it
waiting.
Brian?
No, it's Greg. I told you I would tell you if it's Brian, Matt.
So it's not Brian.
No, it's not Brian. It's
Okay.
2 times.
All right. We'll get
It's
to 2
great.
times in a second. All right. So do you want? Is it better now? Is it a great question?
No, it's honestly it's not. But like
2
it's-
times.
it's
Come on, man.
decent.
Give us a good question. What are we doing? All right. So so rapid fire now. You have questions for us, for me, on, I know you want to transition into acting, your own personal mindset. Go.
Okay. This isn't an acting question.
Cool.
I just am curious about what your thoughts are on this. So do you believe in like frequency and vibrations in other people?
Totally.
And how do you relate that to the Holy Spirit?
It is the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Good job.
Good job.
So, like I said, the Spirit lives inside all of us. Therefore, in an essence, we are all connected. Everybody in the entire world
Yes.
is connected through the Holy Spirit. That's what that is. And so some people define it as these other things. And honestly, I'm in this place where I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, but I keep myself very open so that I can learn. I very much believe in understanding other people's points of view.
Yes.
And not being offensive in certain ways. I don't mind stating my truth and knowing where I come from, but at the same time, I don't want to say you're wrong. I want to understand you. I want to ask you good questions, and then maybe think to myself, okay, if I lead a life that's a certain way, maybe, God willing, somebody would look at that and say, wow, what are the Wheaties that guy's eating?
Yes.
And then I can push the Bible in front of them. But until then, I don't really need to do that. I just got to live my life and be curious and ask good questions. And I'm sure there's things I can learn from every religion.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
no, I love
yeah.
that. I totally agree.
Frequencies, Holy Spirit. Same.
Yes.
Next question.
Okay. Yeah. Let's dive into some acting questions.
Okay.
Okay. So I used to do theater growing up. Theater. Have you heard of Christian Youth Theater?
Yes.
CYT?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's real rinky-dink stuff. Anyway, so from somebody who used to do acting in like a little bit in college, but mostly high school, like a long time ago, and I'm starting to get asked to, now that I'm signed with Ford, to come in for certain commercials. And what's the best way to like transition back into the acting world from someone who's taken so many years off?
So you have to take a fitness perspective on this,
Okay.
and you have to train your
Train.
butt off.
Okay.
You do. And just think about it like anything else. And what's cool is there's a lot of things that you've done that are going to be transferable. Your singing training will be transferable. Your fitness training will be transferable. Your competition at the fitness level will be transferable, because some of those like stage fright things that you've been overcoming.
Yeah, see, I love public speaking.
Exactly.
I love being in front of the camera. Like
Right.
that's fun for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those things are going to be transferable. Now it's going to be about skill set, and understand that there's a difference between maybe say you as an actor and me as an actor as far as our skill set, and then there's a major difference between me and say Denzel Washington or Daniel Day-Lewis, and then knowing that those guys are still training. Meryl Streep is still getting better at acting. So to understand that there is no cutoff, it's like anything else. Like there's always a way to get better, which is why I'm so addicted to acting in general. Is like it is directly connected to life.
Yeah.
If you get good at acting, you get good at life, and when you get good at life, you get better at your acting.
Yeah. That's how I view fitness.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same concept. Matter of fact, you should be taking classes right away.
Yes.
Here you go. Number 1, gonna give you a free book. Here you go.
Hey!
Acting
See,
is
this
my
stuff-
day job. 7 strategies to market and make money as an actor. That is
Okay.
for you.
Yes. Thank
That's to
you
get
so
you
much.
started.
Thank you.
And I'm going to gift you a class
What?
here at the studio. Are you interested in person or virtual?
Either, but in person for sure.
Boom. All right. You're in.
Hey,
I'm so excited. So my
let's
friends
go.
go to improv here,
Oh, perfect.
and they've been dying.
Well, I was going to offer you the improv class, so there you go.
Okay, done.
Boom.
Done.
Done.
All right, good.
Yeah, oh my gosh, do you know Jared?
Yes.
Yes, I was gonna say, because she posts at
Optimal gains.
no, but at
Glory
Glory Gaines Gym,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's where Jared trains.
Yeah, Jared is one of my favorite human beings.
Isn't he a sweetheart?
Yeah. Yes.
I adore him. Yes. Optimal.
yeah.
Yeah.
That man
Oh
can
my
squat.
gosh.
He can.
We did a podcast with him way back when in our old setup. And literally the first 10 minutes are just all of us going back and forth going, optimal gains.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
All right, good. So, any other questions? Anything else you got? Let me
Me?
see here. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I remember one. You had a question on rejection. Talk to me about that.
Oh, yes. Okay. So do you want to like the story behind the
Sure.
question?
Because actually, I interestingly, I think you already have the answer, but I would like to hear your question first, and then I'll just feed you back what you already know.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
I love this little therapy session. So basically, I auditioned for this Netflix show back in May. I sent in a self tape. I made it past every single round until the very final rounds. It was from May until September, so it was a very long, dragged out process. And then I found out Netflix didn't choose me for the show. All the producers loved me. Like I made it to the very final interview. And it was, all over Zoom and everything. And the last interview was in front of the Netflix producers from the UK, producers from the show itself. It was like, in my mind, I was like, this is it. This is the opportunity that God's been holding out for me. Like, I just was, I thought that I had it for sure. And I didn't get it. So that was such a slap in the face, honestly, because maybe it was my own fault for just fantasizing about what my life was going to be like after this experience and all these different things. But I just kind of went into pity party mode after that and was like, I've always come up short. Like, I mean, I've auditioned for singing shows and have not made it and different things. And I just was like, I'm done trying. I'm done trying. Which I'm not. I'm never done. But in that moment, I was like, I quit.
I'm done.
I hate everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So obviously that's tough, and I think you're entitled to a mourning period. So here's my advice to you: is give yourself a time frame. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's usually like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, honestly, and I'll just be super mad or upset or whatever. I'll let all my feels out, like big. Yeah. And then I'm like, it's done. And you just move forward. So like mentally be on the next thing. That's the first thing. Second thing is I want you to think about auditions like you do your before after photos. So rather than looking at the end result, look at the progress and almost be like snapshot of where I started in that process and where I ended. And the win for you should be, did I progress? Mm-hmm. Am I better in whatever area it is? So ideally, let's say we go into like real acting, which by the way, a reality show is not going to be.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And so now you know that, but in the moment it feels so big and so huge.
Yeah.
And
I was like, this is my big break.
Exactly. But truthfully, there's probably bigger things waiting for you. And that could have potentially put you on.
And that's what I believe now.
Path. Yeah.
100%. I believe everything happens for a reason, and God did not want me to go on the show because he's got something greater in store, and I'm ready for it.
Well, here it is, improv class.
Yes.
I mean, it just hits you.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Because honestly, like the training is going to prepare you for the thing you need. Like you need the base foundation. You need something. What you need, just like fitness, is you need the ongoing grind of being a great actor. And ask yourself, what is it that the greats are doing every day, and am I doing that thing? You know, and if I'm not, then I can only expect to be as good as whoever I can compare myself to.
Yeah.
So we're going to help you get the skills and get the habits in place to be working on yourself as an actress every single day to make acting your day job. See that?
Oh, wow, I like how you flooded that.
See what we did there?
Dang.
Yeah, but it really is. It's like this mindset. So then it becomes not about the gig. So what I tell people, and it's in the book there's a progress sheet. And especially with auditions, you want to look at, what did I do to when I first auditioned? Did I get a call back? Cool. Then did I land the job? Cool. But then on the in-between, it's like, how did I prepare for the audition? And my question to myself is, did I give everything I had? Did I give 100%? If I did, that's a win. If I get the gig, icing on the cake. If I look at this and I'm honest with myself before I know the results and I'm like, I gave 50% and then I get the gig, that's a loss. that goes in the L column, and I got the gig anyway, so good for you, but that's probably because of the work you did 6 months ago, not because of what you're doing now.
Okay.
And so I'm only tracking progress. I'm not tracking the results on the end of progress.
I love that.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because, okay, so I went to an audition a couple weeks ago. It was for a casino commercial. And in the audition, the casting director said, he's like, this isn't a modeling job.
What a jerk.
No, it was
man.
great. I was like, oh, you're right. Because I've been going on like 4 to 5 photo shoots a week. So like in my mind, I'm just like hitting poses.
Oh, sure.
And he was like, this isn't modeling. Like, I need you to. And I was like, what's that? I forgot. So that wasn't a win for me.
Well-
I went into that one probably at like 50% because I didn't really know what I was
There you go.
expecting.
So you could have reached out and gotten a lesson from somebody or whatever. But there's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
chapter on there on the evil casting director, and I'm going to tell you, people should not be talked to the way some of these casting directors talk to people. That's the truth.
Facts.
So
Joey Sweeney facts.
I've got firm beliefs on some of these things.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited to read this.
You're gonna love it. It's
Yeah.
a quick read, and it's good. You'll relate to the life advice. It's kind of just like life is my day job. Just get better at life.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here, Joey. You got
Wrap it up?
Let's hit 2 times question. I don't want to leave 2 times. hanging.
His question was, who is your favorite gospel singer? And it came like 3 minutes after we were talking about the worship. And so then I was explaining it to him, and he was like, well, it made sense 10 minutes ago. It doesn't make sense now.
Hilarious. Well, we'll ask the question anyway. Who's your
yes.
favorite gospel singer? Do you have one?
I not like a specific person. Actually, I do like what's it, Fernando Ortega.
I don't know any of them. So if Brian was here, he'd be like, "Yeah, Fernando."
Yeah.
Okay, I like him a lot, but I also just love like Hillsong worship live.
I do know Hillsong, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. 2 times. Good question.
you
2
go.
times. 2 times.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, share this video. I think this one's really, really important for the young girls out there. So if you know somebody who maybe is dealing with any kind of body issues or maybe potentially eating disorder type thing, this is a really inspiring story, inspiring interview for you to share with your daughters out there and your friends. So please share this video. Don't forget to share our channel. Help us spread this light-driven content to the planet. Thank you and God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.